Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. My name is Peter Akwa and the focus for today will be on polar regions. So let's look at the outline for the day. For today, we'll look at the main differences between Antarctica and the Arctic. We'll also look at why polar climate change is very important, and then we'll look at what climatic and environmental changes are happening in Antarctica and the Arctic. And then lastly, we'll look at how worldwide impact of changing climate in polar regions occur and how they affect specific Earth regions. So as I was saying, the polar areas surround the north and south poles of the earth, that is above 60 to 65 degrees north and south. The region around the North Pole is known as the Arctic, while the region surrounding the South Pole is known as the Antarctica. These areas have distinct climates. The Arctic Ocean and a part of several adjacent land masses comprise the northern polar area known as the Arctic. So basically, this area is known as the Arctic, where Greenland can be found. The Antarctic region includes the continent of Antarctica as well as sections of the surrounding Southern Ocean. So here we have the Antarctica and the Southern Ocean. Yes, so diagrammatically this whole area represents the Antarctica, that is a continent, and then we have this one as the Arctic, where Greenland, and then this is Greenland, can be part of the area. Now let's look at the main differences between the Arctic and the Antarctica. With the Arctic, it is an ocean covered by a thin layer of perennial sea ice. When I say perennial sea ice, we are looking at the oldest and then the thickest ice. So the Arctic is surrounded by sea. That is what it means. And then the Antarctica is a continent covered by a very thick ice cap and surrounded by a rim of sea ice and the Southern Ocean. So I have a diagram that represents what I just said here. So here, this is the whole of Antarctica. This diagram represents the whole of the Antarctica, and as you can see, it covers the whole of the South Pole. But with the Arctic, this is the main South Pole, and then it's full of what? Ocean. There is nothing like land or any land masses around that area. Well, as I was saying, another difference between them is that sometimes we see this polar bear and then we see the penguin, and then we think, well, these are animals in the polar regions. But the funny aspect of them is that they have never met. The polar bears live in the Arctic, while the penguin lives in the Antarctica. So these animals live, one lives in the South Pole and then the other lives in the North Pole, and so they have never met. When you look at this picture, you might think that, oh, these animals live together, but hell no, they don't. Let's look at why it matters to focus on the polar climate change. So we have ice mass loss from the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets. So talking about ice sheet, let me distinguish between ice sheets and then sea ice. So sea ice floats on the ocean surface. So it's like a glass of water, and then we have cubes, ice cubes in a glass of water. When this melts, it doesn't contribute to any rise of the water in the cup. So the sea ice is basically cubes of ice on the ocean, and when it melts, it doesn't contribute to the rise of the ocean. But with the ice sheets, so currently in the world we have two ice sheets, which is the Greenland ice sheet and then the Antarctic ice sheet. When these two ice sheets melt, they contribute to the rise of the level of the ocean. So here, this is a diagram from NASA, and then it represents how the sea has been rising from 1900 to 2018. Focus will be on what climatic and environmental changes are happening in Antarctica and the Arctic. Well, we realize that this data is from NASA, and we realize that the Antarctic is losing ice mass. That is, it is melting at an average of 150 billion tons per year, and Greenland is losing about 270 billion tons per year, adding to sea level rise. So like I said, when these two ice sheets start to melt, it contributes to the rise of the Ocean. Yes, so the next thing to talk about is how worldwide impact of changing climates in polar regions occur and how they affect specific regions in the earth. So the first one to talk about is the shift in fisheries. Well, as there's global warming and the climate is changing, fishes are also moving. So if you look at the map we have here, you could see that this dark blue represents the fish. So this is 2010, and then we have 2017. You realize that the fishes are moving out of Alaska, and then when you realize from this section, you see that as compared to 2010, most of the fishes have moved from one place to another, and it is as a result of the polar climate change. So another point is the change in shipping routes, although it promises a less cost saving, but then ship traffic has already surged and is expected to expand more in the future decades as sea ice melts and makes Arctic routes more accessible. The final thing to talk about is the melting of ice sheets and glaciers in the polar regions, which is currently making sea level rise and is harming coastal areas and then most population around the coastal areas and then the economy as well. Greenland's ice sheets and then polar glaciers are currently contributing more to sea level rise than the Antarctica sheets. And so with that, it suggests that the Greenland is currently warming up and then the ice sheet in the Greenland is melting. Thank you much for your attention. We'll meet the next video.